Hello beautiful souls, welcome to your tarot course. So in this lesson I'm going to discuss the major arcana and the minor arcana and the different suits. So I'm just going to give you a general overview about how this works, and now we're going to get into it. Okay, so you've got 78 cards in a tarot deck, okay? 22 major arcana cards. So there's 22 cards actually. These are the major arcana cards, starting from 0 right through 21, okay? It may seem a bit odd that it doesn't start from number 1, but there's a reason for that. So 0 is kind of like the beginning of all things, and it represents like coming full circle, okay? So the end would be 21, and then what would happen is you would start again at the cycle being 0, okay? So that's the major arcana, okay? And these are your major lessons in life, your spiritual lessons, and the reason that you incarnate on this earth, so that you can evolve and expand as a human being. Okay, so that's the major arcana. Okay, and then the minor arcana consists of, I think, 56 cards, 51, I think it's 56 cards. So what you'll notice is in a standard deck of playing cards, there are 56 cards, okay? And this is derived from the tarot. Originally, in playing cards, there were 78 cards, but they took out the major arcana. I'm not quite sure why, but it could be because of the spiritual lessons, maybe. Something to do with that. I'll have to look into that and get back to you. But basically, what that means is you can actually read tarot with standard playing cards, so like your bicycle cards or poker cards or that sort of thing. Yes, okay. So with that being said, in your minor arcana you've got 4 suits. You've got the 1 suit, okay. You've got the cups suit, you've got the swords, and you've got the pentacles, okay. Now these 4 suits correspond to the 4 elements. So fire for wands, water for cups, swords would be air, and pentacles would be earth, okay. Oh yes, a very important thing that I should have actually mentioned in the beginning without assuming is the deck that I'm using to teach this course. It's called the original Rider-Waite Tarot deck, and it's based on, the Rider-Waite deck, which is a very good starting deck if you want to learn tarot, because a lot of decks are based on the Rider-Waite. And if you can read the Rider-Waite, you can virtually read any other deck. I know there is another system called, I think, the Thoth deck or the Thoth deck. I'm not quite sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. But from what I've heard and from what I've seen, is that is quite, it can be a little bit advanced to learn. So a good starting point would be the Rider-Waite, and this is the system that I use, and there's lots and lots of materials out there for you to advance yourself in it. Although I would say, from looking at the Thoth decks a bit, there is quite a lot of overlap between the two, but there are some major differences, which may or may not be significant to you, but you'll find that most readers use the Rider-Waite deck. Most. From what I've seen. I could be wrong, but this is just what I've seen, okay? And I've been taught with the Rider-Waite deck and the original deck. So the Rider-Waite is what you generally learn from. Okay. I know the pictures for some people are extremely boring, but this was created by Arthur Edward Waite and illustrated by Pamela Coleman Smith. So they came up with these, and originally, because to make tarot easier for people to understand and learn, because I think the original cards did not have pictures on them. I think the minor arcana didn't have pictures on them, like your playing cards. They don't really have pictures. Only I think it's the king, the queen, and the jack that have got sort of pictures on them, like faces of people. So they didn't have pictures on them, which, made it a bit difficult for people to read. So Rider-Waite decks, you'll find there's like imagery in every single card, and they kind of tell a story. Okay, so that's the deck that I'm using. Also, there's various versions of this. There's the Centennial version, there's the standard Rider-Waite deck, the Universal Waite, the Radiant. So depending on your preference, there's also I think it's called the Albano or the Albano Waite tarot deck. I could be pronouncing that incorrectly. What else? Morgan Greer is a different version based on Rider-Waite, but so they all actually have the same imagery, but the coloring is different. So if you like vibrant coloring, then the Radiant might be good for you, and the Universal Waite. But if it doesn't really matter to you, then any of those are fine. I find that the reason why I got this deck was not because of any vintage preferences or anything like that. It was just according to my budget at the time, and this is actually my very first tarot deck. Okay, and it's the one that I'm going to be using throughout this course most of the time. Okay, right. Okay, so I'm gonna pause I'm actually gonna cut the video here because I don't want to make it too long, and we're going to get into the next one.